Space nerds! Oh my gosh. I thought the monthly report was the highlight of this week, but no. Benoit just came out on camera on Star Citizen Live and gave a whole bunch of information that not only invalidates one of the videos I was working on, but confirms a lot of the stuff coming this year that was kind of up in the air. Crafting, inventory, social apps, instancing, item recovery. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Dynamic server meshing is also making somewhat of an appearance. So here is your summary of the highlights of Star Citizen Live. Let's get into it. First up today, we've got this quasi-dynamic server meshing going on. It's kind of an in-between static and dynamic, but the thing you need to know is that this is going to allow the servers to dynamically spin up and down to help accommodate players in more areas. So if you've got like a concentration of players in a certain place, another server can spin up to help handle that load. It also allows servers to spin down in empty areas to help optimize, obviously, the amount of money that CIG is putting into servers when nobody's actually using the space. Talking about you, Pyro. But that's not the most annoying thing you have to deal with. The most annoying thing is them trams, right? Those elevators. The elevators. Freight elevators need to get fixed, right? And we know that the transit system was getting reworked into the transport system. It's been talked about a little bit here and there, but where is it? Well, Benoit did confirm during this show that a tech preview for this system is coming out soon. It'll be in Area 18, which is the first place they're building out the new transport system. And it's hopefully going to make things just more reliable. Like, this is an entire rework of one of the core systems of Star Citizen that's been just not really worked on since we were running with 50 players in a server. Same with the comms system, same with the star map, same with quantum travel. All these old systems that are kind of broken are so because they weren't built for 800 plus players and server meshing. So all these reworks are happening, and the transport system is just another one going on right now. But let's get to the exciting stuff. Item recovery is a very big deal. Now, this is what's keeping your stuff on your body when you die and then respawn. The next version of it is going to get rid of that. You're going to lose your stuff again, but you can always get it back. So we're going to start to register our items, our FPS items, in not necessarily an insurance system, but what they're calling an imprint system for FPS items. Now, this is going to allow personal weapons to be brought into our entitlement system along with ships, and they're fixing the way that entitlements work across patches so that we don't lose anything anymore. Now, does that mean there will be no more wipes until 1.0? Not necessarily, but this does sound like a pretty semi-permanent fix to the instability we have between patches when you're getting components and ships and stuff like that. If this does work, we could be seeing at the very least 15, 16, 18 months of just consistent gameplay with no instability in the items you have. This would be a huge deal. I think it would encourage a lot more people to play more regularly. This is the foundation of the insurance system, which is going to lead to ships being able to be brought back as well as items just by the click of a button in your inventory system. Basically, what you can do is pay in a certain amount of money. This is a money sink in the game. And then that thing that you lose, you can always just get back. Like if somebody steals it, if you lose it, if you drop it, if it blows up, you can get it back just like we do right now. But that's not as exciting as the inventory rework. Yes, this was one I thought would come pretty soon. I thought it would be in the crafting tech preview, but we didn't get to see it. But it will be in the next one. The upcoming inventory system is targeted for a 4.7 release in March of 2026, and the technical preview for it is expected pretty soon. They say that internally it is fully functional, and right now they're just optimizing icon rendering speeds. That's really the last thing they need to pick up on is the 3D rendering speed of icons, as you know, in the inventory is terrible. I know a lot of you want to switch to 2D. I wouldn't mind it either. If they can optimize the 3D to work, that's great, but it's got to be a snap. Besides that, they're also talking about functionality getting improvements like stacking, stack all button, equipments and loadouts, proximity inventory access, equipment assignments. It's going to be an actual inventory for a game like this. I can't say it's going to be the best in the industry, but it's going to be much better than what we have now and designed for the actual game we're playing now. That includes crafting. Crafting is another thing that should be coming up soon. It was in the technical preview last month, and we were kind of like, what does this mean? When is this coming? I was thinking it was probably like a 2-month thing or so, and it looks like we will be seeing it hopefully targeted around the same time as inventory. Because there are a few things that crafting kind of implies. The item recovery is a big one because crafting is a bit tied to that, but also the inventory rework is required by crafting, as confirmed by Benoit. And since the inventory is timed for 4.7 in March, so if you're keeping track, that's the rock cracker activities coming up, the inventory rework, crafting, some new missions in Nyx, And I'm gonna guess a new ship. 4.7 sounding pretty good so far. But we're not done. No, let's talk about instancing. So dynamic server meshing is coming along, and that's required for instancing, and they have made good progress on that over the last year. Reportedly, it should be coming this year. Instancing will first be applied at Siege of Orison, as we know. This is so that we can have a more streamlined, directed gameplay experience in that FPS scenario they have. I'm sure it's going to be just as much a test as it is just like new gameplay for us. But I do think it's going to be good fun and a good opportunity for people who want to get into that more curated gameplay of Star Citizen. That being said, instancing is still not necessarily going to take over the game. The idea they have for instancing now is still that it's going to be kind of closed off areas. These transitions are going to be seamless. Their goal is to make sure that you don't notice when you enter an instance for the most part. Kind of like how when you enter your hangar right now, the only reason you know that you're entering is because you're in an elevator. So they want these instances to be around the game so people can get that closed off curated gameplay, but they still want a wide variety of open-ended sandbox style gameplay like we're going to see with Rock Cracker. But during this talk, Benoit did confirm that instances will have player caps and party size caps and even lifetime caps where they'll be shut down automatically. So we'll see just how far they do go with that. And then there's the big one. This is probably the widest reaching change to the game because it touches everyone. And funny enough, I had a video planned to go out about this tomorrow that's already written that I will now have to kind of rewrite a little bit. But the social apps are getting a pretty big update this year, more than I actually expected. First up is going to be voice and chat comms, proximity comms, talking to people at the outpost with you instead of hearing the racist remarks from the person over 2 star systems away. That'd be great, right? So they are working on getting chat to be regional in the game. They're working on better friend tracking, better groups for the chats that you're in. They are going to build in a party finder in phase 2. Phase 1 probably is coming in the next several months. Phase 2 a little later in the year, which is going to be a party finder, looking for group. Are you trying to go and run Siege of Orison? Do you want to group up with a size 100 group of players to do clearing the air? Do you just want some backup to run Onyx facilities? That's what this is for. And I don't know, they didn't mention anything about reputation, but I think we're gonna need a pretty hefty update to reputation for that to work. Because I don't trust most of you. No, you're cool. But really, I do think reputation is going to need to get some kind of a mention here soon if we are getting into the point where we have a party finder. But that's not all we're getting. Organizations are coming to the game. That's right, you'll be able to actually see your org in game. I'm talking about an indicator to know who's in your org, the ability to sign up with orgs in game, chat channels, org management screens. You could even create your orgs in the game. And then obviously things like ship and FPS scanning will help you identify things that belong to your org or other orgs and things like that. Like I said, go check out the main channel. There's a big video that's going into a lot of depth about this coming out tomorrow. But just know this is actually planned for this year as well. It's going to be a thick year with features compared to last year. And I think org functionality is a bigger deal than even I would have thought before I got into or started an org. They're useful, even when they're not like milsim stuff. Finally, one last bit that they mentioned was that VoIP is getting improvements. This is obviously also related to a just outdated technology. There was when VoIP had 25 people in a server. Obviously, it can't handle the load of several hundred people, so it barely ever works. They do want to get it into a place where it is reliable this year, and I think that's going to be a phase 1 kind of thing. So it's very possible that we'll get better proximity comm support and just in general better social apps in the next few months. We'll see. Finally, some other confirmations that came out from this video. First was the Rock Cracker stations I talked about. Also, the Nix People's Alliance space stations are getting added. That being said, everything from CitizenCon 2025 is still confirmed for 2026. So the tactical strike groups, Nix 1, Genesis, they mentioned that they're sticking to the bi-monthly updates. I think this is a good midpoint between what we used to do in the 3.x era and what we did last year. More Twitch drops are coming. If you're interested in that, it's easy things to earn. The mission system is getting an overhaul currently, and we know that. Mission System V2 is in the works. I think this will be good for helping us to share missions, probably give our own beacons for missions, and also get more in-depth quests and chains of missions together, that kind of stuff. And they did acknowledge the exploits the game is going through. They also acknowledge that these exploits can kind of be a bit of a honeypot. So they can sit back and study them and watch them before they do fix them or as they do fix them. So I do think that there's something to be said about, yes, the exploits are bad. Yes, they will cause problems, but if they're not causing the development of the game to slow down right now, and they could benefit the company, they should use that. That being said, I would like a real, more reliable economy, so, I feel you there. That's about everything I have for you. This was a pretty big info drop, and I'm going to go over it in full depth, word by word, on my live stream, and also I'll probably post that on this channel. But if you keep an eye out on the main channel, like I said, there is a social apps review coming out to talk about everything that's there. Thank you for checking out this news drop. I hope you got something from it. Let me know what you think down below. This year's looking kind of exciting, especially just for Q1. Tell me what you think. Thanks again for dropping by. See you in the next.